call to order this regular Board of Directors meeting for the Siloam Springs Board of Directors, September 21, 2021. Roll call.
Sappington.
Here.
Smiley.
Here.
Burns.
Here.
Hunt.
Here.
Rissler.
Here.
Allen.
Here.
Carroll.
Here.
If you all will please rise as Director Allen leads us in prayer and remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Our dear Heavenly Father, thank you for bringing us all here tonight to help us make proper and confident decisions for the citizens of Siloam Springs, Arkansas. Look after each of us and our families, all city staff and their families, and just take care of everyone as we go about our everyday lives. Look after this country and help the world come back from this pandemic. Try to look after each one who's sick with it and bring them back to health 100%. We ask these things in Jesus Christ's name. Amen.
I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. At this time, I would ask that anyone that has an electronic device, please silence that. Thank you. Next is our public input. The public may address the Board of Directors regarding any item on the consent agenda or any city business not listed on the board's regular agenda. Is there anyone here that would like to address the board? If there is not, the next is our consent agenda. Item A, workshop minutes, September 7, 2021. Item B, regular meeting minutes, September 7, 2021. Item C, auditing services, 2021 through 2023, landmark CPAs for $181,500. Item D, Resolution 46-21, Special Use Development Permit, Small Office, Homeland Investors Incorporated, 882 South Lincoln Street. Item E, Resolution 47-21, Authorize the rate of property tax 2021 to be collected in 2022. Item F, Resolution 48-21, Siloam Springs Street and Sidewalk Maintenance and Repair Master Plan. Item G, Reservoir Repairs, Public Works Department, Water Division, Ellingson Contracting, $59,796. Item H, Budget Amendment, Public Works Department, Street Division, 2021 Capital Budget, Used Concrete Truck. That is our consent agenda. Directors, is there any item that you would like to have removed?
Madam Mayor?
Yes.
I would like item H.
H?
pulled.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else?
Madam Mayor?
Yes.
Letter F.
Anyone else? If not, do I have a motion to approve our consent agenda with items H and F removed?
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Roll call.
Smiley.
Yes.
Burns.
Yes.
Hunt.
Yes.
Rissler.
Yes.
Allen.
Yes.
Carroll.
Yes.
Sappington.
Yes.
Motion is approved. First item asked to be pulled was item H. Director Sappington.
Yes, I was just concerned that we were going to still have the same trouble that it lists that they're having trouble getting concrete, and if we go ahead and buy this, are we still going to be able to have the same trouble? Is it going to enable us to get in line quicker, or what's going to happen, Dennis? Help me out here.
Dennis Kendi, Street Department Superintendent. What this will actually do is give me some control back to get concrete for my divisions. Right now, it's hard to get concrete. There's so much going on that sometimes it's taking me 2 and 3 weeks in advance getting on the books to even get concrete. So I contacted the SMG concrete plant out here, and they told me that it would not be an issue for me just to call them and order concrete, and then me, if I had my own truck, to go get it, take it to my job sites, unload it. And that would also help us in situations where sometimes I need 1 or 2 yards and I have to buy 3. So that's a minimum that they have. So this way I could buy 2 and I could only get charged for 2. That, because that takes care of what the extra price is for, and why they have a minimum is to cover themselves on delivery.
Right. Are we gonna have to hire an additional staff?
Oh no, I have plenty of licensed drivers that can drive that truck.
Okay, I just wanted to get a little clarification because, I mean, $24,000 isn't very much, and I didn't want us to be buying a pile of junk that we're gonna have to put a lot of money in to repair.
Well, it is gonna have to be an older truck, there's no doubt about that. But when you pour concrete, you take the truck, you go get it, you come to the job site, you're probably using that truck an hour and a half to 2 hours every time you pour concrete. You know, granted, right now I'll pour every day if I can get concrete, but then there's times that truck would only be used three to 4 times a week. But to do what we're wanting to do with it, there's lots of them out there in that price range. And I think we can get one that's decent enough that we can keep it on the road just to run to that concrete plant and right back to our job sites without a whole lot of expense, I'm hoping. You know, everything's a shot in the dark. You never know.
All right, thank you.
Anything else?
Anyone else?
Madam Mayor?
Yes.
I just make a comment, not for you, Dennis, but I appreciate, thinking outside the box, making that connection. We have to meet public expectation, and that is time. And they're not patient. And that just shows we're trying to do our best to get these projects back online. So thanks for that.
Thank you, Brad. Anyone else? If not, do I have a motion to approve item H, budget amendment for Public Works Department?
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Roll call.
Burns,
Yes.
Hunt,
Yes.
Rissler,
Yes.
Allen,
Yes.
Carroll,
Yes.
Sappington,
Yes.
Smiley.
Yes.
Motion is approved. The next, Director Allen, item F.
Yeah, Madam Mayor, I
Yes.
had a few questions. In our, the first page, it states, well, here it is, the resolution, actually in the staff report. It states the request for resolution approval is late in the year, so the plan includes projects through 2024, but there is no 2024 within the proposal. It stops at 2020. Oh, I guess I didn't see it. There it is up at the top of the page. Never mind. I didn't see the number there. My apologies. I did have a question. We have Oak Crest listed here on 2024, but we had a lot of people show up about Don Hill needing to be widened. And is that part of maintenance, or is that a future street, or whatever? I'll just say, being the new guy, I didn't understand that the workshop was, the time to ask every question. I don't think a city board workshop equals a public meeting. And the fact that we have so many public meetings about comprehensive plans and bicycle trails and other things over the years, but yet we don't have public meetings to address one of the most important and most often brought up things to us, which is streets and sidewalks. I would like to see us have a public meeting to have input on these types of things that we decide on. And then lastly, I was just going to say page 3 of the executive summary actually lists that we've already adopted it. I thought that was a little odd. Can somebody tell me
Steve.
about Don Hill?
Can you do that for us, please?
Steve Gorzek, Public Works Director. Director Allen, the Oakcrest was listed on the master plan, but if you notice, there was a column over on the far right side that had contractor pricing, and that was the only one that particular year, and that's simply because that one is already on the list of the major projects that was talked about some time ago, well, a month ago maybe now. But Dawn Hill is on that list as well, so I didn't put Dawn Hill on the 2024 plan. In fact, Oakcrest was on there before this whole list of major projects came along.
Yeah, I realize that, but where is Don Hill listed? I don't see it on the list anywhere.
Yeah, it's not on this plan right now.
Why would it not be? This is what we're approving for the next 3 years.
Right, but if the board approves a funding method for the major projects, then Dawn Hill is on that list. Now, again, it's since it's a fluid or a living document, as I've pointed out in there, then obviously we can replace one with another.
Okay, I understood that what was approved in 2018 was it. I mean, you either spoke your piece then, or you didn't speak at all about adding or changing a street on the list in 2018. It says right here that it was approved 2018. There's been no revisions to it until tonight.
Right, this is the first revision, correct.
Then why would there be no input from the board about let's look at Dawn Hill, or actually asking the board and saying, are there streets that you believe should be taken off this list? Are there streets you think should be put back on the list? With as many people showed up and pointed out how dangerous Dawn Hill is, I thought it would have been discussed a little bit more. And I realize Oakcrest was on the list. It was on the list that we got quite some time back. But I just don't see, some of these streets, I understand they're just a fog seal or an overlay, but things like like Oakcrest obviously need a rebuild, and I just question why we're not talking about widening Dawn Hill.
Madam Mayor,
Philip, yes.
Director Allen, I think the issue may be that this plan was looked at from the standpoint of the condition of the asphalt. It wasn't a plan to look at widening streets. It was just a plan on trying to identify the condition of the asphalt and overlay and improve the condition of the asphalt. So it's the maintenance plan more so than a street improvements plan. So
that was my question. Is there a future way to address that?
The future way to address that, we don't have a set 3-year plan on those improvements, but the way we would address that is from year to year in the budget, trying to say, we presented that list, you and I talked about it the other day, we presented that list of 20 some odd street projects. I think that, I don't remember if Dawn Hill was on there or not, it's been a while. But going from year to year, trying to decide what's the next big rebuild street improvement project is really a budget determination.
Well, that's why I didn't know if widening was maintenance or if it's completely according to what you're saying, that other list that we saw.
Yes,
So,
sir.
okay.
Yes, sir. This is strictly trying to rate the condition of the asphalt,
Okay.
and then trying to say, based on that condition, it needs an overlay, or it needs to be rebuilt, or it needs a slurry seal, whichever the case may be, not a list of streets that are going to be improved with widening and the streetscape and that sort of things. Now, sometimes when they're rebuilt, they may get widened, but that's not the reason. The widening is not the reason it's on this list. It's the condition of the asphalt.
Okay. Thank you.
Madam Mayor,
Yes.
you mentioned, Steve, that this is a living document, which I appreciate that, because I understand that means that if we do determine that there are priorities over what's put here, that we may have to make a change even within the 3 years. Is that understanding correct?
That's
with that, with that said, I think Director Allen said it doesn't look like it's been changed. I think it has been changed somewhat, because I know originally Villa View was going to be in 2021, but now it's in 2022. So I think maybe some of the dates have changed just a little bit, which is fine. The only issue, though, with the living document, while I can appreciate that that leaves some room if something does have to change, when we put a plan like this out, people get kind of attached to that plan and they see their street on there. And then things change, and then their street gets bumped to another, and that's really what we've got going on, bottom line. I mean, Don Hill maybe needs widened, and we've got concerns there, but we've got concerns in so many areas of town. So I don't know really what I'm trying to say there, other than I think it maybe has changed a little bit since 2018.
Yeah, and the Villa View one was a good example.
Right.
And that's just simply because we planned on doing it this year, but
Right.
just not going to be
Oh,
able to do
and
it.
I understand the reasoning behind why, but so potentially if something did come up that we just saw, no, we've got to do this, like happened with Villa View, it might have to change
Correct.
in the next 3 years as part of that living document.
Madam Mayor and
Yes.
Board, the other thing, you have input into every budget. So this gives staff, I mean, the idea of this plan is to give staff that sort of roadmap on street maintenance. But you're exactly right. There could be some issue that comes up with a new street, and the board says, we got to take this plan and put it on hiatus for a moment and address this street maintenance, whatever it is, in the next year's budget. But the idea with this maintenance plan was just to try to create a roadmap so that we could say it and the public could see it, that at least the plan, and if everything goes to plan, which doesn't always happen, but the plan is to do these streets in maintenance-wise this year, these streets the following year, these streets the following year, to have some sort of idea as to where the city is trying to put its resources. But as you stated, priorities change. There are, opportunities happen with grant money that might change things. There are threats that happen at times, whether it be flooding or something, that have to change things too. So there has to be some fluidity to it, but the idea is to try to say, at least with all things being equal, this is the plan that we're going to do for the next 2 to 3 years.
And as much as we can stick with the plan, I like that, because people do get excited. Oh, my street's on the plan.
Finally
Yay.
made the list, yeah.
And then when it changes, but thank you. Anyway,
Madam Mayor,
Yes.
if I understand correctly then, when there is a major street improvement, we see it through the capital budget. And when there's maintenance that is done, we just see it on our master maintenance plan. And I do understand that even though it's a living document, things do come up and we do have to kind of shift a little bit. And I think we have done that on 1 or 2 occasions. Not only on street repair, but just things in general that come up with the city. We have to be flexible to take care of some of the priority items that may arise through a storm or God or whatever. So I appreciate that you keep telling us it's a living document and it's not always going to be set in stone. And I do understand also that it's the board, when we get ready to do our yearly budget, that we have the input on the streets that we're going to do through the capital budget. Thank you. If I get that right. Am I
Yes.
right?
Yep.
Okay.
Madam Mayor?
Yeah, Brad?
Yeah, one of the other things we discussed last year is that each ward, each of the 4 wards would get a project. So that was a change that we had made. And another one is the only way I know how to accelerate the street program, and that's really the driver here, is that we have to accelerate the street program, is that we have to brace this economic development that's happening in Siloam, and that includes industry, retail, and that's part of Simon Sager. If you look at that, that opens that up. The development on Arkansas 59 is another area there. And as we go through the budget cycle and over the next X years, I just strongly encourage us to start earmarking some of those funds that are going to be increased through taxes to be directly put into streets in the private sector, so that we can get some of these projects online within, I'm going to say, my lifetime. Because Don Hill that's been that way for a long, long time. But specifically for Ward 2, we also have numerous streets, and one of them got pushed to 2023, and it's the same developer that Director Hunt's dealing with out in Villaview. We got left some streets, and we had a bad winter, and it just really put that on a decaying stage that ramped up significantly. So it's a challenge, and I look forward to working with Director Allen as we challenge the city administrator and his numbers. It'll be fun workshops ahead.
Well, not a
David?
workshop, a public meeting, what I was suggesting. Madam Mayor, I was going to address what Brad said. If each ward gets a project, that means at-large gets 2, what I understand. That's what, didn't I understand that? I thought that's what somebody said.
I don't believe
No,
so. But
you're
that's-
shaking your
yay.
head. Well, the other question I had was in reference to what Mindy brought up on Villaview. If it was not listed in 2018, when did it get put on the list, and when did the board approve it? Or does the board approve it? Is my question, is how does a new street get put on this? Because I don't think Villaview was on 2018 list, the original list. And when a addition comes on it, should it not come back for board approval? Because it looks like with this revision, because it says it's supposed to be revised every 3 years, why would we not have interim revisions for major changes like that?
Well, again, we could add to it. Now, the comment about Villaview, though, the plan that came out, that was adopted in 2018, I believe covered 18, 19, and 20. And if I'm not mistaken, in that plan, in the narrative after the table, there was talk about future projects, and I thought Villaview was one of those. It didn't, I don't know if it gave a specific year, but I know this plan that we're looking at adopting has things like Simon Sager, I think, was on 24. But we've talked about some other streets that aren't on the list, but it's in the narrative showing that it is being looked at and will be added at a future time. So I think Villaview fell into that category.
But see, that's one, to me, Villaview is so dangerous, and we've acknowledged its width is not even up to code. That's one that would, by being on the list for an overlay, I would hope we would plan to widen it somewhat, because it's so dangerous as it is now. Plus, we need sidewalk all the way down, or something to accommodate all the bikers that go to the JVU biking. We have a ton of people that walk that street. And by simply overlaying it, I'm hoping we're gonna address a problem rather than just overlay the street. I mean, the street's not bad as it is. It has problems on the shoulder, but that is one that I would say, why have we not talked about widening it as well?
Well, I believe that street is going to be widened a little. It's only going to be 2 or 3 feet, but that was to accommodate the curb and gutter that was going to be on the south side where the side path will go. So the side path is going to be added as part of it'll be a separate project, but it's going to be done the same year.
Madam Mayor,
Yes.
in conjunction with this, wasn't it just a couple of months ago we had a workshop on accelerating the streets and how much money it was going to cost, and we were going to have to come up with some way to finance it?
Yeah, that's the one I was referring to. That had the list of projects, major projects.
talking about a different.
But I mean, they still kind of, that's where the capital budget comes from.
Right. It's just whether we're doing it in-house or contracting it.
Thank you.
Anyone else? If not, do I have a motion to approve item F, Resolution 48-21?
Madam Mayor, did you ask for public comment?
No, sir.
Oh.
I did not.
Not?
Not on the consent agenda.
Oh, I thought since we took it off the consent agenda.
You asked at the beginning, though, before.
Yes.
What I was asked, did you ask when
Yes,
this came up?
at the
Okay,
beginning,
I
yes.
didn't know. I couldn't remember if you had or not. That's why I was asking. So,
Yes, we
thank
did that earlier. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
We have a second.
Second?
We have a motion and a second. Roll call.
Hunt,
Yes.
Chrysler,
Yes.
Allen,
Yes.
Carroll,
Yes.
Abington,
Yes.
Smiley,
Yes.
Burns.
Yes?
Motion is approved. Next is our regularly scheduled items under ordinances. Item I, Ordinance 21-19, second reading, amending Section 102-21 of the City Municipal Code, rezoning from A1 to C2, 4171 Highway 412 East. Ben?
Yes, thank you, Madam Mayor and members of the board. Ben Rhodes, Senior Planner. Before you is the second reading for the rezoning, as the mayor stated, at 4171 Highway 412 East. This is going from A1 agricultural to C2 commercial. Since the first reading, staff has not received any additional public comments, and we in the Planning Commission are still recommending approval, and we stand ready for any of your questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Ben. Is there anyone in the audience that would like to address Ordinance 21-19? If not, directors?
Madam Mayor,
Yes.
since there were no objections, can we go second and third readings tonight?
Yes, we can. Would you like to make that a motion that we do the second and third reading, suspending the rules and reading title only?
I so move.
Do
Second.
we have a motion and a second. Carol made the roll call.
Chrysler,
Yes.
Allen,
Yes.
Carroll,
Yes.
Abington,
Yes.
Smiley,
Yes.
Burns,
Yes?
Hunt.
Yes.
Motion is approved. Philip?
Ordinance number 21-19, an ordinance amending section 102-21 of the Siloam Springs Municipal Code, City Zoning Map, rezoning from A1 to C2 property located at 4171 Highway 412 East.
Thank you. Do I have a motion to adopt Ordinance 21-19 after the second and third reading?
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to adopt. Roll call.
Allen,
Yes.
Carroll,
Yes.
Sappington,
Yes.
Smiley,
Yes.
Burns,
Yes?
Hunt,
Yes.
Chrysler.
Yes.
Motion is approved. Next is our administrator's report. Philip?
Thank you, Madam Mayor and Board. So you have the August sales tax receipts in front of you. The city is up 16% for the month and up 15% for the year. And the county sales tax that's received by the city is up 22% for the month compared to the same month last year. And for the year, up just over 22% at 22.7%. I reported to you a few meetings ago that the census numbers came out for Siloam Springs. 17,287, I think, was the number. I was just happened to be looking at some other numbers of other cities, and I just compared ourselves. 500 cities in the state of Arkansas. We're the 27th largest city in the state of Arkansas, based on those latest numbers. Last night we had a thunderstorm and some relatively high winds moved through the city. I wanted to report to you there were some downed trees. I'm not aware of any significant damage. However, at the new maintenance shop, we built the wooden fence, and then we built the chain link fence around where the water flows potentially. And as part of that, trying to provide some screening on that chain link fence, we put a cloth fabric on there. Well, apparently that acted like a sail last night, and the wind blew down parts of the chain link fence. So we'll be working to make some repairs. Likely on that west side, we'll probably, we may be able to keep some of the cloth and put some dead men on there. We talked about it today. Likely in the grassy area, we're just going to have to remove the cloth altogether and have some of that yard exposed. I wanted to talk to the board and ask you to give some feedback. There have been some entities that have expressed interest in potentially renting the Chautauqua Amphitheater. Historically, since the construction of the Memorial Park and the Chautauqua Amphitheater, only city-sponsored events have occurred there. And you know, there's positives and negatives to renting it out. You could, you know, staff could draft up some rules and regulations. We could have a rental fee and so forth. But you know, the issue comes into, are you going to rent it out to, you know, what events are going to occur there? And generally speaking, if you rent it out, it would be anybody who pays the fee. We would probably say it needs to be a public event, the public invited. But you know, anything under the sun could occur there. So I'd like a little feedback from the board on that. I don't want to ask staff to go and try to draft rules and regulations if there's not sufficient interest from the board to rent out the Chautauqua Amphitheater to private entities for public type events. So if you would, as you do your reports, just give me some feedback on that, and if we need to have further discussion, I'm more than happy to do that. You have my COVID updates there. The Arkansas Center for Health Improvement is, as of 9/13, we were up having 62 new COVID cases over the last 2 weeks per 10,000 population, compared to 58 new cases the previous 2-week period. And per ACHI on 9/13, 28% of our population is fully vaccinated. Director Sappington asked for some information, and I apparently maybe didn't understand it. Asked for some information about commercial zoning. You have an attachment that Ben worked on, and I looked at it today, and I thought I would add it here, which is really just a summary of comparing the C1, C1A, and C2 zoning districts as far as the permitted uses and the uses by special use. And talking to Director Sappington a little earlier, right before the meeting, I think I misunderstood what her interest was. So unless there's questions on this, we'll go back to the drawing board, Director Sappington, and come back at a later date with a map and the specific zoning districts, and we'll dive into the specific districts and the zoning of those, if that's my understanding of what your concern was.
My concern is, you know, the downtown area, and if it's roadway commercial or small commercial, local commercial. And I think now that we're looking at our master plan is a good time to look at if that's how we want to keep it, or if there's some changes we need to make.
We'll once we get through the budget, we'll come back and with a staff presentation and bring some maps and be able to bring an interactive map so we can zoom in and out on various areas. The last thing I had, and it's not on here, I would ask that the board and the public, we have some staff members that are having some health issues, and I would just ask that everybody keep us those staff members in their prayers. That's my report. Thank you.
Thank you, Philip. This time we'll have the director's reports. David, if we could, we'll start with you tonight, and then we will end with you, Carol.
I will just say that my prayers are for city staff and everyone in town who may be having health issues and dealing with COVID as well. And that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, David. Mindy?
Same sentiments on those who have health issues right now. Just our prayers are with them and their families. You asked for our feedback about the Chautauqua Amphitheater. I really enjoy the theater. I was there Saturday night for the conference. I'm very happy that we have that. I think it's a great addition to our downtown. I don't have a strong opinion one way or the other. I do have concerns that if we do open it up to the public, that there may be some members of the public that will love certain types of events that are there and hate other types of events and vice versa, and it could come back on the city. But if we do open it up, we have to open it up. And we have to be ready for whoever wants to rent it. That would be my only comment.
So your direction is?
So my direction is I look forward to hearing from the other directors, really. Not a strong opinion one way or the other. I think we do have to, so I'm just, I guess, saying to the other director, I think we have to take that into consideration. And if we don't think that will be an issue, that some of the events may be something that the public in general would like, and some events may be something that some members of the public would not appreciate. I just think that we need to take that into consideration when we're making our decision. So
thank you, Mindy.
Throwing that out there.
And David, I will come back to you. Do you have any input? You've talked to him.
Dr. Phillip.
Thank you. Brad?
My thoughts on Chautauqua Amphitheater, as much as I love everything about it, I don't think Siloam's ready for that. I request further discussion after the budget cycle looking into next year. I don't think we're in a hurry for that. We're coming into cold weather, and I think we really need to give it some thought. That could, we've struggled with some things that the city was not participating with in the past, and that's going to be a big decision that I'm sure we're more than capable of making collectively, but it would take some time for us to ponder that. Thank you.
Thank you, Brad.
I'm not done. That was
Oh,
just
sorry.
one. I got like Mindy's 20 minutes, so I'm
Oh, okay.
I
well,
know.
good. I'm gonna go real quick, Madam Mayor.
go.
Oh, hang on, I got her notes. I forgot to thank Director Risler at the last meeting for recommending me to the Sager Creek Committee for consideration. I did turn in a letter like everybody else and following the procedure for consideration, so thank you very much. And two more things. As we develop Arkansas Highway 59 and you see that zoned out there, that used to be the Springfield Plateau, which covered a very large area of northwest Arkansas, eastern Oklahoma, and northern Missouri. We've done a great job of developing that significantly. I'm going to get on my horse again. I think development that's going up out there, I would strongly encourage us to think of the next generation. As you come into Siloam, we are Siloam, and we are having urban sprawl and commercial sprawl. What do we want that to look like? And I am a big fan of the berming. If you go out 59 towards Gentry, you'll see Stumps Prairie out there, or the Stumps, and that's a natural thing. That's pure prairie. You'll see that throughout northwest Arkansas. The folks that didn't plow up that land. And I just think 20, 30, 40 years down the road, Siloam needs to set its own tone. They will come here. They will develop. I watched a development haul off loads and loads and loads of soil. Now, I don't know if they're making money off it. And now we're going to get a wood fence in that's going to either blow down in the next windstorm or going to catch plastic bags. But what are we leaving the next generation? And how do we want that as you come into Siloam as we sprawl and have that growth and development? So I think we should consider that looking out in the future. And lastly, I'd like to thank the American Legion for the flag replacement. And they did a great job. They do it on an early Sunday morning. And if you find a flag that's down or damaged, don't call me. Give that gift to JW. He loves phone calls. But they do a great job, and I know we help with the funding. Thank you.
Thank you, Brad. Marla?
Thank you, Mayor. It's picking time on 59.
Right.
So I just want to remind everybody to go out and go shopping, enjoy the beautiful weather. It'll start the 23rd and go through the 25th from 8 to 5. We also have Fall Cleanup Week coming up the week of October 4th. They'll pick up on your regular day of trash pickup. And I've had some people say that they have trouble hearing us. And I know that we're doing everything that we can to make sure that we're getting out clear to the public. But I just want to encourage each of us to go ahead and continue to use our microphones as we should. And hopefully we will, allow the public to hear what's going on. There are some vacancies on planning and zoning, and if anyone's interested in looking into that, it's a good way to serve your community. Also, Philip, if any of the families that are experiencing, if they're quarantined or just can't get out, we'll be glad to deliver food. The Manna Center will bring them groceries. So just have them reach out to me, and I'll be glad to get that taken care of. And about the amphitheater, my first initial response is no, until we think more about it. I just think that it's a city property that we've got control over, and it's going to be hard to say how much to rent it out for, who gets to get it, and what's it for, and there's a lot of things to look at. And I just, right now, I'm no, because we don't have to rush into it. We're not doing it to make money. And I think that there's a lot of things that we need to consider. And that's all.
Thank you, Marla. Lisa?
On the theater, I'm like Mindy, I'm either way, but I do have a question. When I was talking to Philip, I had a 4-year-old running around my legs, so I didn't quite get to think straight. So at this point, the way it is, the city sets up the concerts and we have them. But so if I wanted to go down there and I just wanted to sit down and play some music and ask some people to come, I can't do that. I will get kicked out?
No. There's no reservation for it. So if I decided to go down there and have a family picnic, I could do that. I mean, but there's no guarantee that you wouldn't be there having a family picnic when I wanted to be there and having a family picnic.
Right.
So we're not going to necessarily kick anybody out, but to reserve it for a special event that's advertised and be able to say, I'm sorry, Philip, Mr. Director Ressler had this reserved, and you have to. That's the difference. I mean, so it's the reserving it and using it for a event that you're promoting and putting out there for the public to attend, versus if I could play guitar and go down there with a little microphone and during my lunch hour, the old hee-haw, picking and grinning, and nobody was there, I could do that every day. You wouldn't want to hear me, but I could do that, yeah.
Okay. So I was trying to figure that part out. And I agree with Director Burns that we're going into winter. I don't think people are going to be wanting to use it, so I know that's not much help, but.
It is, thanks.
I always have prayers for the city employees. I'll pray specifically for those that are in need. Siloam Springs Republican Women's, last night they had a meeting, and I was impressed because Carolyn, the president, talked about we need to look at what's going on in our nation. We need to look at what's going on in our state, but we also need to look at what's going on locally. And I like that she asked that locally we come in and speak instead of assumptions being made. The city got to come in and say, this is what we're talking about, and this is the rumors you're hearing, and this is the way what we're trying to say. And that impressed me, that they went out to get the information and bring it into their group. And I want to say thank you to those that attended the prayer here at City Hall. We had over 70-something people here, and it was amazing. The preachers did an amazing job praying for our nation, praying for our state, praying for each of us and the city employees. And so I just want to say thank you to those that participated. Thank you to those that led in prayer. It was greatly appreciated.
Thank you, Lisa. Reed?
Concerning the Chautauqua Amphitheater, I think we need to put that suggestion on hold. Let's get through a pandemic and let's get our city up and running, and then we can address that. I do lift up the employees who are having health concerns, that we could see them come to full health and get back to work and enjoy their lives. A week from Saturday, October the 2nd, is Homegrown Festival. I'd like to invite everyone to come to that. It's from 9 to 5 on Saturday morning. And finally, for a number of years I had a local business that had employees, had machinery, all kinds of things. And one of the hardest things to deal with were the daily disruptions. I applaud this city in that in the middle of the night we have a storm. And the first thing this morning, our crews were out clearing and cleaning debris strewn across our streets. Someone or some group developed a game plan, and this plan was implemented by multiple crews. Communication was made to where most of us in our community do not even know the full extent of the storm. We can treat this kind of like a light switch and not think much about what goes on behind all the work that happens without our knowledge. But for this, thank you, Team Siloam Springs.
Thank you, Reed. Carol?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I too have prayers for the staff and for all the citizens of Siloam Springs. I have prayers for everyone that is ill. I don't care where you are. On the Chautauqua Park, I do believe I would like to see it stay, at least for right now, as a city-sponsored event. We haven't had it that long. We're not here to make money, and so I think it's a serious discussion that we need to have, but right now I would just like to say it stay the way it is. I have a question. I know that Benton County has rent assistance, and I believe it's being handled through the Hark Foundation. Does anybody know anything about that? Because I know there are people in Siloam that are looking for rent assistance. Do you, Marla, know anything about that?
There's a pretty thorough process you have to go through. You have to be certified for it. You just don't apply and get it. You have to be certified for it. And some of the guidelines are economic, of course. I think some are related to COVID, if you've been out of work because of COVID. But there's, you can go to harknwa.com and read up on it. And we have a direct contact at the Manna Center that we can get a hold of.
So you could help somebody. I read that website, and it was a little confusing for me,
Yes.
and it looked like it would be difficult to fill it out. So,
Yes, I have some direct contacts.
okay, I appreciate that, because I do see posts on social media once in a while where people are needing some rent assistance. And the county has millions of dollars in rent assistance that hasn't been used yet.
Absolutely.
I think everything has basically been gone over. I know we have crews working on 412 in progress today, and I don't know how much longer they're going to be working. But also, we still have jobs posted on our website, and I believe they're through the police department, the fire department, and maybe the street crews. We're needing some street maintenance. I'm not quite sure. But just go to the Siloam website, and I'm looking forward to the fall cleanup on October the 4th.
Okay, before.
I was just going to compliment Philip when he spoke at our Siloam Springs Republican Women's group last night. He did a great job, and they actually have a YouTube channel a lot of people don't know about. If you go to YouTube, you can research, you can whatever you call it, search Siloam Springs Republican Women, and they record every meeting. And if you want to know more about your electric bill and things like that, Philip did a great job last night. About an hour long, and it was very informative. And then I just wanted to say, Lisa, thank you for setting up the Community Foundation prayer that you did a week ago on 9/11. hopefully annual thing, because it had a good turnout, and it was good to have prayer. So I thank you for that. That's all I had. Thank you.
Thank you, David. Carol?
Mayor, I move that we adjourn.
Do I have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. We are adjourned.